Welcome to Stormwatch by GreyNoise Intelligence. Each week, we cover the latest info on what's happening at GreyNoise, Census, and VulnCheck. Take a look at a roundup of important and timely cybersecurity topics, toss out some expert opinions, and drop the occasional conspiracy theory. This week, we once again lean into the insights from you, our community, as we learn about what cybersecurity metric drives action in your organizations. Honestly, it's been great to see people responding to the polls, and Jordan does a great job getting all these things put together and collected. So it's worth going over because you have some great insights. We then channel our inner George Costandas to gather around the Festivus poll that not one of us has, to air our grievances, cyber and perhaps otherwise, from the past year. And we encourage everyone listening to share your own grievances in the live feed or just shoot them in an email to us. We'd love to hear them. The show will take a more serious tone as we discuss the importance of practical OPSEC fundamentals, particularly focusing on executive protection challenges. I can't imagine why we're doing this segment. We explore how predictable movement patterns and excessive public information exposure can create security vulnerabilities. The conversation covers everything from website vulnerabilities to social media risks and emphasizes the importance of consistent security protocols and information control strategies. Of course, we cover the latest news from Census, VulnCheck, and GreyNoise. And we're actually going to check in a little bit, I think, towards the end on exactly what improvements you should be seeing since our great migration last week. So, hey, welcome aboard, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, get some music
Good
over
morning.
here. Look at that. Nice, peaceful, calm music.
Oh,
Right as we air grievances later. I might have to play that so we keep calm for what's out there. So
I feel like you pushed the wrong button.
No, I did not push one button. So we've been really digging deep into like learning about all the personal things from everybody in the past few weeks. We're doing it sort of centered around this time of year, of course. And I was curious because I've been making a lot of beverages for folks, non-alcoholic ones for the most part. And I was curious, and you don't have to pick from this list of 3, but I gave everybody a list of 3. So I'm going to start with Kimber. Good morning, Kimber.
good morning.
And I suggested 3, like, so of these 3, but if you want to pick a different one at this time of year, hot chocolate, hot mulled cider, or eggnog.
I am going to have to say the cider, strictly for volume reasons.
Ooh, explain.
Because I love all 3. Like, there's nothing better than a little, and honestly, I'm going to be real, and I love all 3 with alcohol. But like, you can't drink a whole bunch of hot chocolate. You can have like 1 cup. Same with eggnog. If I have more than 1 cup of eggnog, my tummy's gonna hurt. Even if it's oat nog or almond nog. Yeah, I'm just gonna feel very full, and then I can't.
So I gotta say, so number 2.1, hey Benjamin, he's listening. He would disagree with the fact that you can only have 1 cup of hot chocolate. He would vehemently disagree about the quantity that can be consumed.
You know, like once you're in your 30s, your tummy just hurts.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Oh yeah,
so true.
So cider is basically the only thing that I can have multiple cups of and not have my tummy hurt. And this year at Thanksgiving, the holiday drink for Thanksgiving was apple cider mimosas.
Ooh,
Amazing.
Okay.
do you have a lot of orchards around you at all that you can get fresh pressed cider, or not really?
Theoretically, fresh pressed cider is what we bought in the store. There are apples in Utah.
Well,
Look,
Have you ever made your own? Like I've never done. I want to buy one of those cool like bucket apple presses and make my own cider someday. Have you ever made your own cider?
that sounds so idyllic. I would be so in for that. Oh my gosh, yes. Fresh in the comments, fresh pressed cider and prosecco. It's so nice.
Oh,
It
I
really
gotta try
like
that.
look at this, Lou. Like Lou coming in like just hot today with this. Wow, this is great.
yeah.
Yeah,
It-
drink. Yeah, basically, if you have drink mix like recipe things, toss them out. We'll put them in the show notes for everybody.
Yeah,
This is
and
great.
for those
Speaking
of you that
Prosecco-
are
Oh, sorry.
into mocktails, kids wine, the sparkling Martinelli's works just as well. So if you want to have like the fizzy cider, it's really nice. So
We cannot keep that in stock in our house at this time of year. All the sparkling Martinellis, they guzzle them. Whoever's, they just, I don't, because I don't like to drink sugar things, but gosh, they go, wow, it's crazy. Yeah. Buy stock in that, people, just at this time of year, because it goes up whenever we.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well,
Yeah,
Glenn, same question.
Prosecco.
Okay.
We
got a Prosecco here. All right, go for it.
This is not sponsored, but hey, shout out. The Costco Kirkland Prosecco is.
Oh gosh, no! Please tell me no.
Yes, it's very okay for this.
It's very okay. Wow, there's a resounding plug right there. Kirkland Prosecco. It's okay.
It'll do the job just fine.
No, it's good, and if you're mixing it, like, it's a very, very good. It's like $7. Like, come on.
We have Lou's coming in hot again with a good suggestion. Grand Marnier sparkling wine cranberry juice, also great. That's good. This is good. I love this.
Hire Lou for your next holiday party.
Right?
CB wants you to speak more about your booze and infused holiday drinks.
Yeah, no, the private comments. I gotta quit looking. Yeah, the Kirkland is the very best of very okay. Perfect. I love it.
So that's you just guzzle Prosecco at this time of year is what you're saying.
They say that Kirkland brand vodka is Grey Goose.
That's what they say. Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't found otherwise.
I gotta go all the way.
We have bespoke, locally made vodka. Why would you choose anything else? But that's okay. Yeah.
We have Costco.
All right. So of that list of 3, or maybe something more holiday-ish instead of just like guzzling Prosecco in the morning like you do.
Yeah. I thought. Well, it worked for you. I thought that.
Wait. Hold on. Wait. We've had clarity from the Peanut Gallery. You are to speak more about your Costco pride as well. If you can, so I challenge you to intermix some Costco pride into your actual holiday drink choice.
I mean, okay. That's a lot. That's a high bar. So from these 3, okay, back. Yeah, I'm like, I gotta get back on track. I didn't realize that we could stray from the list. So, in non-shocking fashion, I echo everything that Kimber just said, because none of these are drinks that you can have more than once. And then I would actually say, I feel like every time I have hot chocolate, I'm disappointed.
Interesting.
I'm so eager and excited to have it, and then every time I have it, and 90% of the time I have it, unless it's like true like milk and melted chocolate, like unless it's like real. But so much of it is a mix, then it's always just like, that wasn't worth the calories. But on the 3, I would say the apple cider would be the top. And eggnog, I just can't do. Again, like in my younger days, yeah, I'd put back some eggnog, some nutmeg on top and all that, but I can't.
Our tummies hurt.
Yeah, and you can't eat another thing all day for like 8 hours.
Eggnog is a meal.
Yeah, eggnog is a meal. That's exactly right. Hashtag eggnog is a meal.
In a minute. People are gonna really hate me in a minute. Overwatch, what are your fave of the list or others? Irish coffee or straight Bailey. See, that's it. You know, this is why I appreciate Ashley, because straight Bailey's just why get everything. And we're gonna find out that a lot of you out there actually prefer just straight drinking too, besides doing your job. So it's gonna be good. So I'm going to do my hot take first, which is eggnog should never have been created. It's an abomination, and it should be like the only thing that you could do good with an actual like bottle or whatever of eggnog is pour it out. I hate eggnog.
That is a strong opinion.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate eggnog.
Is this based on flavor or like a personal experience that you had?
When I was a kid, like the name bugged me because like what is an egg? What is a nog? And why would you drink eggs? And it just goes downhill from there. So to me, it has like some of the echoes of like the pumpkin spice crap at this time of year, which no one should do either. So that's a whole other thing.
Oh, okay. Settle down, Bob. Settle down.
It's been a rough morning. It's been a rough morning. I'm not gonna share why. These 2 know why. All 3 know why.
Do you eat eggs?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I drink eggs.
So,
have you ever wanted eggs, but just like really creamy? And not cooked?
Why?
Have you ever like if I could have some scrambled eggs in liquid form, that wouldn't give me salmonella. Have you ever had that craving?
Have you ever just
No,
wanted to
never.
chug eggs like Gaston?
With some bourbon?
Okay. Wow, look at
Some
this.
bourbon.
So someone got a partial snow day from work, and this is her. She's using her YouTube channel because
You had a snow day already?
She didn't have time to look at, and she likes eggnog in pumpkin spice latte. Yeah, so that is true. Hi, sweetie.
Wow,
so this
I'm
is-
surprised that
yeah.
you speak to each other then, because that just went against everything you just said.
I will gladly make eggnog, buy eggnog, serve eggnog to her gladly. And I'm like, I know number 2 likes it, and I know number 1 likes it. I will gladly serve it to them. I just, if I had my druthers, I would have eliminated it from the planet. So
I really
If I had a pumpkin
appreciate
spice eggnog, I might not.
of eggnog discourse.
I know we really went all in on this, but I feel like that's basically a protein drink at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just say look at what drinking raw eggs did to like Stallone and Storbo, and like
we
that's
are
all
11
I
minutes
think
into
that's right there.
eggnog talk.
This is eggnog pod.
All right, so I also didn't have anything ready for this, so I'm going to share a slide. Just to remind everybody real quick here, we have a podcast. You're listening to it. Scroll down to this little thing over here.
You're still
like
tuned in.
like and subscribe, all the things if you actually can, because
Real nog lovers subscribe.
That would be great. Yeah, that's true. I mean, seriously, and if you like, drop me a hate mail, please.
Mind your noggin.
Yeah, because like air your grievances about my nog grievances if you wish, because that's what it's actually going to be.
Wait, what was your favorite drink?
Oh, I didn't say that. I'm sorry. Oh, apple cider, hands down apple cider. Yeah, yeah, that's amazing.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So, and to just get into the thick of things, y'all, I got to turn the music. Oh, no, I'm leaving it on. I'm gonna leave because I need soothing. I got this pretty bad this morning, so I need some soothing. We have a poll, and thanks to Jordan's
Festivus poll
coalition. No, unfortunately, we ask serious topics when we do polls out there. We get very serious because information security is a serious discipline, Glenn. It's information security is a very serious discipline.
Very serious answers.
Yeah. So which cybersecurity metric do you find most useful for driving action in your organization? Mean time to respond was 43%, so it's a clear winner. We're going to dig into that just a tiny bit. Mean time to detect, which was 28%. Percentage of systems that are fully patched, 26%. How much whiskey is left? Now, this is 13% across all the answers, but only one platform lets us do polls. So I feel that if we had 5 choices across all the platforms, I think I know we'll be number 1. And number of phishing attempts blocked is 4%. So you guys don't care about phishing because I guess nobody cares about phishing, but okay. So I would like to ask my co-hosts, what do you think about like mean time to respond being the top metric?
How is this measured? Because mean time to detect, very,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah. Like I'm
You can't respond if you don't detect.
Right. But
No. Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're detecting and your tickets are sitting in the queue for a week, that makes the detections kind of meaningless. So I just appreciated usage of these acronyms. Is that the right word? Abbreviation? Acronyms, yes. Because the last time that I thought about them was when I got my Security Plus. So it's good to know that people are still thinking about these.
So I have a theory that I wanted to toss by you. Why Respond got higher marks than across all the platforms than the detected? I have a theory.
What's your theory?
My theory is that we've been told now for 4 years by the DBIR and other sundry publications that we're getting better at detection. We're closing the detection time gap.
Oh.
And I wonder if we're now overconfident enough that we can detect everything, because I mean, clearly we can, because not every telecom system in the U.S. is compromised by Chinese foreign hackers and they can't get them out. So obviously we're really great at detecting things. So we're not overconfident in any way, shape, or form by saying mean time to respond. So I'm just curious, Glenn, do you think that's a feasible? Like we're overconfident. We believe all these publications that said we're getting better. Because we would never lie. We would never submit our incident reports, to Verizon from all these organizations and say look how great we are. We would never lie. And people that actually sell platforms that do MDR and things like that would never lie about how quick their response times are for detecting things, right? They would never do that. So knowing that it's all true, are we overconfident? Is that what this is?
I wonder how accurate, how can we possibly know if we're getting better at time to detection, right? Because you're comparing it against something that you're not detecting, which means you don't know it, unless you're doing retro look back or whatever. But so I think perhaps from a programmatic standpoint, time to respond is probably more holistic as far as like you have a known start and a known end, so you can measure that cycle completely. But time to detect is like more detections does not mean you're doing better, because again, you're measuring it kind of against an unknown. I also was kind of stuck. I know we glossed over the phishing thing or the, yeah, whatever, but was it phishing blocked, right? That kind of actually pigeonholed my brain for a second, because I don't love anything that compares a uncontrollable. So basically phishing attempts blocked, like you can't control how many phishing attempts you receive. So like, I don't know, like that one kind of short circuits my brain, because you're measuring something against a very dynamic thing. You can't control that, right? So I was just kind of surprised to see responses on that one.
I was thinking with the mean time to detect, I was thinking about like, okay, how would you calculate that metric? And you would have to kind of go back and determine dwell time in order for that metric to have any meaning. And I don't think that a lot of people are doing that. They're not like, many things are so immediate that you would have to have a true incident in order to go back and calculate dwell time, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think anybody's sitting there saying how long has this thing been installed or
Right.
when
And
did
Lou
this
has a
go to
good
this website.
comment kind of
Yeah, put
along
up on
those
the screen.
lines.
Yeah, go for it.
Are we actually closing the gap, or are a larger portion of incidents less concerned about persistence and moving slow versus things like ransomware, which are incredibly visible? Like there's no quiet ransomware, right? Because its whole goal is to be seen, be found, make noise.
Yeah.
I think it's a valid question.
Yeah. So I think probably the mean time to response was like the only meaningful metric in that group.
Yeah. I think we kind of talked ourselves into a understanding.
Conclusion. This is very cool. And next Tuesday, so I forget when Jordan sends this out, but next Tuesday will be the final poll of 2024. So make sure you answer that one, because it's also our final episode of 2024.
Wow.
I know, it's hard to believe.
Time flies.
We made it.
Oh, banners on Friday. Thank you, Overwatch. All right, so we don't have. There's no props. There's no sites. There's no links. There's no screens. All there is now,
props?
10 minutes, are grievances. Many grievances. You know, the thing about Festivus is it's supposed to be plain. You're not supposed to have it dormant. It's supposed to be all, yeah. So, why? There's my first grievance right there.
Sorry,
Anyway.
forgot I work for the Grinch.
Yeah,
diving
you
right.
can put it on if you want. It's just it's not in the spirit.
No, you ruined it.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a Festivus poll in my name.
Okay. I did too. I did. Oh, I had it in, but I had to cut it out for the interview. Whatever. Bah, humbug.
It's fine.
Anyway, it's terrible. I did not actually expect to have Ashley have anything, but Ashley, I'm going to give you a shot first if you want to toss out one or two grievances.
Oh.
Or not.
Well, she has to think and type. Maybe we come back to her.
Yeah. Well, okay, fine. I just wanted to start with her because, like, we, she wasn't okay. See, I did it. Wow, I'm being bad today. I'm just being. All right, well, take your time. Yeah, whatever. Like, well, we'll start with Glenn. We'll start with Glenn. That way, you can ignore what he's saying and then like think about what you want to put in there. That'd be good. So.
I want folks to like sketch what they think Ashley looks like into the den because she's a very mysterious person.
That would be
on
very
this.
amusing.
Yeah.
All right, so we just
Nice.
doing
So
one at a
Glenn,
time, or what? Am I just
I'd like you to go through all three.
So the setup is, it is Festivus. We are gathered
Yes.
around the pole. The pole has
It's December
been
23rd.
set up. It is December 23rd. We have gathered here today for Festivus. It is for the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
This is the airing of grievances.
Time for the airing. of
Unusually,
grievances.
though, unless Glenn's is about me, we're not actually doing like the Costanza version, which is goes around the table and like yells at everybody about how bad they are. So, like, unless you, Glenn, you are empowered to do that.
Got a lot of problems with you people. You're gonna hear about it.
So Glenn, what is your first one?
So my first one, I kind of went cyber to not cyber. Very not cyber, actually. The first one is just no surprise, I think, to people that maybe tune in frequently, is just around communication of incident reports. There is such between delays or minimization in the wording, or very, we care, very fluffy and padded. Like, we don't need that. We, as it's going on, facts matter, timeliness matters. If you don't know, say you don't know. If you're investigating, say you're investigating. But
Right. So just for some context, because people might have misconstrued what you said initially. This is when an organization has suffered a breach of some kind, or a massive incident of some kind, to the point where it requires them, or should require them, to communicate publicly about what they have done. The way they do that communication, in general, you are very frustrated with on a regular basis. Is that correct?
Yeah. And there's wording such as, if you run our product in the cloud, no action is necessary. Great. Did you have to take action? Like, were we at risk, or were we never at risk? There's so many questions that are
There's no risk in the cloud, Glenn. It's the cloud.
Perfect.
It's soft and fluffy and nice. There's no risk.
It's very pleasant.
Yeah, hell never comes from clouds. Like, nothing ever bad happens from the cloud. Tornadoes,
hurricanes.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for that clarification, Bob. But yeah, so it's just really annoying, and we have enough of good examples of reporting that is timely and factual, and save all of the like, we care and we're sorry, whatever, for the after action report and what happened. But don't delay when folks are trying to actually protect the downstream effects of what happened. That's not the time for positioning, right? Like, just help us all help what we can, and then we'll have to go back and revisit what happened. So that's my number one. My second one is just really crappy smart things. Things that are made to be put on the internet, but are also made to be disposable. So they never ever get an update or a security fix or any kind of attention. They just are made to pull an IP and send data. And I get really annoyed with seeing really old things at like TJ Maxx or something for sale, because they're already end of life, and someone's going to buy it, gift it, put it on the internet, and then who knows what happens.
I also think some context is required here, because not only is this like from what we see hitting our sensors on a regular basis from these garbage devices, but Glenn's a bit of a obsessive compulsive user of Internet of Things, and home automation. Is that correct, Glenn?
Yeah. There's way too much automation in my home, to the point where I was like, do I actually have a ghost? But I finally figured it out. It was me. But yes, I'm a very strong proponent. There was some talk lately or recently of essentially kind of a nutrition label for smart things that has like, how long is this expected to be supported and stuff like that. I am a very strong supporter of something like that, to where you don't buy food if you know it's expired. You shouldn't buy a thermostat if you know that in 3 months it's about to quit getting any kind of support or updates.
Well, I just to pile on for that one, because it hasn't happened yet, but I'm expecting it to. We had to replace one of the Pro-Am kitchen ranges thingies that came with the house with a new one for reasons. And we got one. I tried to get a dumb one, but you can't like you cannot buy the dumb things anymore. Like we've been having a hard time doing that. And I think I mentioned this on the pod a year or two ago, but this particular one, I can't use like the air fryer version, like the air fryer feature of this thing without it being connected to the internet because I'm a little terrified of this because I believe that probably means that they're monitoring it because there's a problem with it, and like if it gets to like there's enough problems with it that they have to shut it off remotely, whatever. So, and
Certainly.
Probably just didn't make a button for it. They're like, we don't have room.
but it's just weird. It requires that, which means that I mean, I also don't use I don't use the air fryer feature as a result of that. But if someone relied on that, these folks are not going to maintain that service forever. They're just not.
Bob, hack your stove.
Oh no, I will eventually. I have other things to do air frying if I need to do it. I wouldn't do it in the stove anyway. But it's just like it's stuff like that bug me. Like you don't need to have this, and don't make a feature crucial, like critical, like relying upon this thing. Yeah, it's a
terrible. Feature that you pay for should not be gated by an app or the internet.
That was number 3. What's number 3?
Okay, number 3. Actually, this wasn't on purpose, but it segues perfectly into we're talking about expiration dates. I have a huge problem with expiration date lack of standards on food and packaging. Like, this is an old man rant. Get ready.
Ready.
As I get older and my eyes are like giving up on life, the amount of time I spend looking for an expiration date, like you have to locate where did they print it. You have to figure out, did they print it with black font on a black part of the packaging? You have to figure out, like, is it going to be like this big? Is it going to be this big? Like, one of my presidential platforms is going to be standardized expiration dates, location, font size, format. Oh yeah, is it year, month, day? Is it day, month, year? Like I've had things where I'm like, I don't know if this is like expired in April or May. Like this is so.
Wow, the level of optimism in that rant, though, that there will actually be future presidential elections is pretty cool, Glenn. I'm sorry,
and that I'm on the
great. That's great.
But yeah, no, this is something that really, really, and I have some family that's visually impaired, and like not like I joke about it, but not jokingly, and it's a real problem.
That's a really good point. How do they know if you are visually
apps
impaired?
And friends and FaceTime?
Wow.
I've FaceTime with my sister before. Like she got Alexa. Actually, so SmartThings. The good thing about SmartThings is it really helps a lot of visually impaired people. So now they remodeled their kitchen and everything is smart and can be done through Alexa. But before that, if she was home alone, she would like FaceTime me and say like, okay, I need to do like 2 minutes in the microwave. Like which button is this? But yeah, it's a whole world.
That's really interesting. I never thought about that.
Yes, I just want Glenn to know that like it is not actually as arbitrary as he makes it sound. Because the FDA
it is in my experience.
Yeah, okay, it's great. So, but the FDA, I'll put the link up as soon as I get done scrolling.
It's just
the
that
FDA,
they require it.
Yeah, and look, you've got commonly used phrases that they suggest.
Though. Okay, but the answer should be standard. Like what it answers might be standard, but its formatting is not.
But notice the quality of perishable foods may deteriorate after the date passes, but they should still be wholesome if not exhibiting signs of spoilage. So this is just to make these are there so that these companies have your back, Glenn. I don't know what's wrong with you. Like you don't trust them?
Yeah, like what's the comedian bit about like the cow like says when the milk expires as it's getting milked, like it tells the farmer. Yeah, we're unhinged today. Sorry, I'm not sorry. This is what happens. This is it. This is end of year.
All right. Well, they're
great. Mine.
Can confirm.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna give Overwatch. Did you have a chance to get yours ready, Ashley, or do we move on to Kimber? All right, she's gonna steal them. That's good. All right, just harbor that. We're doing this so that we can be freed of these grievances and enjoy the rest of the holiday season. But that's okay. You can just keep it all in and use it during the interviews you have in the next couple of weeks. There's Frank. There's Frank with like the science and stuff. That's great. All right. Yeah. Kimber, do you have 3 grievances?
I do. I have many, to be quite honest, but for the sake of time, I will stick to the 3. I will start with why in the year 2024, are we submitting vendor talks to conferences that are geared towards cybersecurity professionals learning, like the hacker-based conferences, the Cactus Cons, the Saint Cons, the GrCons, like the regional hacker conferences? Why are vendor talks getting not only submitted, but then accepted? And then they're pitching a conference audience. I have seen this multiple times this year, and I'm very disappointed in I don't know if there's just a lack of people who think that they can talk to an audience about a topic that like they find interesting so that these talks get through. Like, is there just not enough valid talks that we have to go to these vendor talks to fill time? I don't know. So that is my cybersecurity related.
So it's that big of a
arguments.
problem. Is it blown up to be that big of a problem?
I don't know if I would use the term blown up, but I think like for me,
Misleading.
even one is unacceptable to me. Like, quite frankly, I would love that at these conferences, you're not allowed to tell me what your product does. Like, if you have what your product does in your slide, you need to just heck off. And I have been guilty of giving a talk where I mentioned what GreyNoise does, but only because it was relevant to the talk. Like, yeah, GreyNoise collects scanning on the internet. So I just, at these conferences in particular, like at Black Hat, I think it gets a pass. At some of the B-sides and stuff, it gets maybe a pass because, yeah, like the Overwatch said, it is valid that some vendors can pay for talks, and I'm just maybe if
be
their
like
talks are more
called
interesting.
out like before you walk in the room that this is a talk that you might learn something, and you also it's because that's also a way of like a captive audience. So it feels like a commercial. Like,
Yeah,
if I paid to come to this conference, I didn't really pay for commercials.
right.
Mm.
I got
And
the
I
ad
love
free
the
plan.
idea of saying that it's just like sponsored content
Yeah.
because it could be good. I will
Yeah.
say there's some vendors out there that give good talks.
So the vendor talks are worse than the lampshade people at conferences?
I mean, I found the lampshade people amusing but degrading. You know, like that was a very silly marketing thing. Vendor talks are just an inconvenience and
Gotcha.
disappointing. So that's number one. It's a big one for me right now. I'm not sure why. Uh, number two, light bulbs on at night that I can't control.
Go on.
I live in the city now. I
Oh, I'm
don't,
so sorry. I am so
yeah,
sorry.
I don't live in the suburbs where, well, even in the suburbs, it can be a problem because some people are really afraid of the dark. So they have very bright lights outside that, whatever. I wish that it was darker at night. I think everybody would sleep better and be less grumpy. And I just really, there's a neighbor that leaves their lights on all night, constantly, and it shines in my window. And I just really hate that guy.
So you meant light bulbs, like, because when you said that, I thought you meant like in your home or in like a hotel room, but you're talking about like outside or something.
No,
That's
I'm
just
talking about like other people are a problem.
other people light bulb. Yeah, that would be
Other
really annoying.
bulbs. Also,
You got a BB gun?
I have thought about like because I live in an apartment building and the apartment building like wraps around and that's the problem is that light is shining at my window directly all night. I've thought about walking around and knocking on their door at night, but I don't that feels really uncomfortable and I don't want to be that guy, you know? The grumpy apartment person just isn't a good look. Please turn off your lights. What if they're afraid of the dark? I don't know. Uh
Just bring them a dimmer bulb.
Well, there's therapy for that. Like you can actually get therapy.
That's true.
And so just it's not like, so I live out in somewhat in the middle of nowhere, just like southwest of it, but a couple acres away, there's someone who has felt the need to put a light on at night at this time of year that is as bright as like the daylit sun. It just lights up everything in the area, and it goes off at 3 a.m. I don't know why it goes off at 3 a.m., but it goes off at 3 a.m. and then like doesn't make any sense.
Drives me nuts. I am so not a big light person. I don't think people realize how overstimulating lights are, and I have a whole rant about light pollution and the fact that it's affecting the birds and migration patterns, but I will spare everybody from it.
Yeah.
That's been a big one this year for me.
Affects the turtles too.
It affects a lot of animals, and humans ultimately are animals.
But if I were Bob's neighbor, I'd have a big bright light too, just to keep him away.
Maine is really Sasquatchy.
It is.
Yeah, that's why they have the big light.
Yeah.
This is also the same neighbor that has the giant purple. It's not like it's not one of the giant skeletons, but it's a purple inflatable that's taller than the skeleton. And at the Halloween time of year, and it's the dumbest looking thing ever, and they have that too. So yeah. So.
Number 3. Sorry, these.
Wait, hold on. Wait, I'm gonna air. Wait, we're gonna do this on here. So we totally do. So we have light pollution in Maine. We told Portland is just a mass of just horrible light pollution. It's just terrible.
It's really
but yeah, for the most part. But she's not wrong. A giant chunk of Maine where all of like the militia people go, and so you don't want to go there.
And the Sasquatches.
And the Sasquatches, they do have that, like they do have no light pollution there. So a good chunk of us do not, but unfortunately there are parts of us that do. What's your third one?
Sorry, none of these have been cybersecurity related.
They don't need to be. It was optional.
We're tired of cybersecurity.
Yeah, I'm gonna make up for it, Kimber. Don't worry, I'm making up for
it. This one's controversial in my mind, but the fact that all houses have had skeleton armies this year for their decorations, and instead of taking the skeleton armies down after Halloween, they are just being decorated for every single holiday.
I've noticed this as well.
Yeah. And there's part of me that appreciates it, because there is a house on the corner that is a goth house, and they have left their skeletons up forever. The skeletons are invading the home, and in winter it looks like they wear sweaters. So like their house, it's a bit.
If you're cold, they're cold.
Exactly.
That's not true. In D&D, you cannot do cold damage to skeletons. It doesn't work like that, Glenn.
Okay. Don't kill my joke.
It's actually a really good point. The amount of houses that I've seen this year where that is the situation is the hat is just on the skeleton. And I think what the actual rant is that I appreciate people having joy, but I like the overconsumption of goods just for the sake of decoration is really depressing to me.
They're very expensive. The giant skeletons especially are very expensive.
Yeah. And I'm just out there, I'm looking at all of these skeleton armies that people have when I'm looking at Christmas decorations, and I'm wondering how everybody can afford a skeleton army in this day and age. Mm-hmm. So this one's like a multifaceted rant of just like, why are there so many skeleton armies? Don't you people have better things to spend your money on? But also, if you have money to buy a skeleton army for Halloween, you certainly have money to buy like some cute dog inflatable army for Christmas.
Or skeleton dogs for Christmas.
I don't know.
Just that exists. Something.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
There's one that I passed by on the way to the gym, and they just put a Santa. That's like the 10-foot skelly, and they just put a Santa hat on it, and it's holding garland. And at first, I was like, "That's ridiculous." They just didn't want to take it down, and now I'm like, "Oh, it's kind of cute." And it's extending the use of it so it's less wasteful
There is that.
than buying
around
something
the
else.
around the bend from us, somewhat near where one of our CSAs is, they have a giant skeleton as well too. But they went, so like the shirt you're wearing, if you could show people more, like you're wearing like the elf shirt, and they've decorated it like elf, and it's not terrible. It's not terrible.
Skelly
So,
elf? Skello?
yeah.
Skello?
I just feel like all of these people got the giant skeletons and then we're like, oh shit, where am I going to store this? I guess
Exactly.
Just keep it outside. Yeah, just keep it outside.
I guess my bonus grievance.
Ooh, bonus grievance.
Because I'm tying it back to vuln checkery, just the NVD.
I'm gonna double down on that though. So if
Right.
I'll take it away.
Time to pass it off to Bob.
I will take it away, and I wasn't going to start with MVD, but that was an amazing segue by Kimber, so I'm going to do that. Hey, MVD, some of you listen. I do, and we know this, so some of you do listen. It's been a bad year. It's been a really, really bad year for you, and as a result, for us, all of us, not just me, and not just Glenn, not just Kimber, not just our orgs, everybody. You've failed. You've literally failed I have a huge. You failed us completely. And this new boondoggle contractor thing that you've done hasn't improved anything. Your API has been like frantically up and down and just useless for like the past month. Even like literally a day after you said everything's great, and it hasn't been. So yeah, it's terrible. And either get your act together or just stop. Like stop pretending. Hand the torch over to a capable, successor. I don't know, maybe someone that's got a really good compatible NVD API, like someone on this podcast, which is way better than yours, by the way. So just throwing that out there. So it's been bugging me. It's been bad. Some of the automation that I have in place for various things that we do at GreyNoise breaks, and it's not that like I could code around it, but it doesn't matter if I'm not going to get a response for a day for the API. Like it's great. I can handle like retries. Retrying for a day means why should I even rely on your data? And you are supposed to be the backbone of CVE, like evaluation security and like information and knowledge base for everybody. And you're kind of worthless right now. So this is not great. And you seriously get your act together next year, because did I channel as much of the anger as you have, Kimber, or do you have more anger against the MVD?
No, I think that's pretty solid. I feel like being a government agency is probably a little bit. I mean, I guess NVD is government funded.
Yeah. And now with another with a contract to an outsourcer that already gets a couple $2 billion from the, so it's great. Yeah, it's great.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wonder what the future of this is as well, but that's a different conversation.
Well, I mean, CISA might not exist next year, and I don't know if there's anybody.
I wasn't going to go that hard, but okay.
To have cyber, but whatever. It's yeah. My next grievance, such as it is against another giant entity that we rely on for stuff. And you are welcome to come on. Like Todd, I know you don't speak for them particularly. I'll say who they are in a second. But you folks at MITRE who manage CVE and the CVE board, I invite the whole board on the Stormwatch, because you've really hurt us this year big time. You keep adding more and more and more and more individual companies that get to mind their own CVEs. Letting Microsoft was bad enough. Now you've got every other vendor hey, you want to manage your own CVEs? Go for it. And just wait till next year, because I'm probably going to do a report in like Q2 about what damage that's actually done. How much has been covered up by these organizations because you've let them do that. You've put us all at more risk. The standards are just terrible for it. CVE is literally failing us as an industry.
You might need to expand a bit on what you mean by that, because
yeah. So here's a case where if you are a vendor of a product, I'll use Microsoft, because like they're my favorite punching bag for this. They are their own CVE authority. Like they issue their own CVEs. No one else can issue CVEs for Microsoft stuff. So if you're going to get a CVE through Microsoft, it's going to come through Microsoft. And sure, there's a lot of CVEs that Microsoft does let come through from researchers, just because it would be bad if they didn't have any, because they're Microsoft and they can't code securely for beans. So like you have to have some, but they gloss over. So I will just do one recent one. I wasn't going to talk about NTLM today, but let's talk about NTLM today. I know there's someone that may listen who's that NTLM at Microsoft is near and dear to your heart, but like you're lying to me if you say you care, because there's an NTLM flaw that a vendor had to do a single byte patch for. And like Glenn and I have this thing about like using third-party like side patching tools to keep your enterprise, huge contract enterprise stuff running safely, as safely as you can. And you go, oh, we may fix it in April next year.
Yeah, April.
Yeah, and they're not the only ones. Like we've let some of the worst firewall vendors, some of the worst network gear vendors, some of the worst actual like file sharing and other just enterprise software vendors be their own CNAs. And that means that they can cover up a CVE for as long as they want to and reduce the amount of detail that they have. And another recent one was from just about 3 or 4 weeks ago, where one of the vendors was like, yeah, there's a flaw somewhere in this something that we're not going to tell you. And hey, just, patch this thing, just trust us, it's fine. And that's the level of okay we get now because of what we've let loose on this. So, and I know that there isn't a single entity that can process all these things. I get that. But the solution wasn't to let the fox mind the hen house either. So
yeah,
I think this is a big problem. I think this is a huge problem that's going to come back to really haunt us in a big way in 2025.
Would you say this is similar to having like the same company that builds the software also build the AV and protections for that same software?
Who would buy AV from a company that also sells them the enterprise software for it?
I mean, you sell the solution to your own problem. It's genius.
I love this conspiracy.
It's just terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
It
My
does work
final one
pretty well,
though, I will decouple from the cyber rants, because this has become an increasing problem over the past 4 or 5 months specifically. So I'm fairly okay at data visualization. I grok color theory. I grok like the accessibility guidelines and all those things, and a bunch of products that I keep buying. And some of it's like foodstuffs, like so channeling some of Glenn's ire against like labeling. But this, so I get foodstuffs or some other things out there, or trying to read directions on some things. And it's not that they're tiny. It's because size of font does matter, but you can accommodate that pretty easily. But when they choose to not have the right contrast ratios between the background and the text, which is becoming an increasing problem, that no one can read it, not a single, like you actually have to scan it in and ask like Chat GPT to read it to you, because it will do color stuff, whatever. But it's I don't understand. Like we supposedly have all these cool designers and people go through all these schools, we have all these standards and all, and it's just nothing. You can't, it's like things are becoming completely unreadable and unconsumable.
Are you saying like black font on purple background or something? Is that what
actually the trend these days is like blue and green and blue. That's like, it's like, and just the worst greens and the worst blues ever on top of each other.
I'm trying to think of an example of this.
I'll get one for next show. I didn't want to use props today, but I have many because I take pictures of them, because I actually don't post them on social media, because like I would say bad words probably, so I don't.
I would be happy to bring your contrast requirements into my food labeling standardization.
Mhm.
We will. Okay, I will
platform.
unite with you, and I will unite on this platform. I'll be your VP.
Mhm.
Great. What could go wrong?
This is the side
It is
hustle.
So I don't know if there are any formalities, but this does conclude, and thus the Peanut Gallery has not actually come in with their own. You were encouraged to. We were challenging you to do so, and none of you have done it. So
now it's time for the feats of strength.
Feats of strength.
The feats of strength.
That's the second part.
You have to do.
We wrestle.
Oh, okay. Let's do it. All right,
it's going to be a Wordle battle.
It is definitely going to be a Wordle battle. I'm gonna try to get up. I did not actually put us. You know what? Census has a blog up. We got a link. We'll put a link into it. We're gonna make We're gonna make sense. So next week is gonna be all Census all the time, because 2 weeks in a row, they've like, oh wait, what is this storm? What storm? Who you guys? That's what we've got in the past couple of weeks. But they have a lot. They've published a lot that we haven't talked about. The report. Images has a new thing. They're just, and since there's so many cool things that they've got.
It's a very topical topic for Bob and Emily to
Yeah.
wrestle
Oh,
on.
yeah. And then we're gonna talk about it. So next week is gonna be great because we're gonna like have a whole gang together, final show of the season, and also be able to like talk about this. So this is gonna be great. So like just so there is a new thing. I'll bring it up. I should bring it up. It's bad if I don't bring it up. Talk amongst yourselves, please, while I bring this up.
Should we have eggnog during the show next week?
Hey,
Oh,
hey. Let's not. No one said violence, Glenn. No one said
A nog
violence
off?
is cool.
Feats of strength. See who can tolerate the most eggnog.
Oh,
So Him just has a new one. Closer look at healthcare cybersecurity trends. New research shared at the Health-ISAC Fall Americas Summit. So they were
This is
presenting
so
at the
cool.
ISAC Summit, which is cool. They're a good group of people over there, and
she spent a lot of
they
time on
were
this
joined.
research too. She's had a few blogs
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, Image is great. Really. So this is great. We're not going to ruin it though. They're going to talk about this next week. I'm putting them on the hook for doing that next week. And I'm also going to bring up the vuln check stuff right now because you have been doing a lot, Kimber.
Been hustling over here at the vuln check. Not just checking vulns, as it turns out, but educating the people on what we mean by exploit intelligence.
Yeah, what is this? You have a whole you're basically like a whole 101 course on exploit intelligence. What's up with that?
Yeah, because exploit intelligence is this concept that we've introduced, which is a little different from threat intelligence. Like it is a subsect of threat intelligence where you use all of the different variables that are factored into exploit development. Like where is it in the life cycle? How do you use it to prioritize your vulnerabilities? And also, most importantly, how do you machine interact with it so everything can be more automated? So we noticed the opportunity to be a resource in some of the definitions of things and just get people introduced to that content. So
Cool.
that was
And you
that was
have
a good one.
you have a whole
Yeah.
new thing as well too, just on the 5th.
Yes. So Patrick, good old Patrick Garrity and his Jupyter Notebooks phase is bringing me immense joy this season. Where
I should have used that. I that's one of my like grievances. I hate Jupyter Notebooks.
well, Patrick is loving them, and I am loving Patrick loving them because he's able to trawl through data and come up with insights like these, where we're just looking at the top vulnerabilities of 2024, comparing our data with the CISA data, and taking a look at what products are the most affected and potentially the whys of them being most affected.
And
So,
there's a whole video talk on it too. I can see from
yep.
here, right? So cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's that time of year for retrospectives. So this will be a good one. Probably very predictive of what's going to happen in 2025 is my guess.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Glenn, I was hoping I could lean on you for this next thing. Could you maybe bring up the visualizer and show folks some of the new numbers that they might be seeing and explain why they might be different than previous numbers they were seeing?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I gotta do that then. I'm gonna need a second though.
You can have a second. We'll talk around you. So for everyone that wasn't paying attention last week or wasn't on last week, we have just switched over architectures. We've been telling you about this for a year. We pulled the lever. It took like all 50 of us to it's a giant lever on the way, pulled it down like that. And wow, the data just flows. It's kind of beautiful, actually.
It's really magical. Oh, and
oh no, I've asked Glenn to do something that has caused Glenn's audio video setup to die.
Well, I'm wondering if I have the permission to set up this share in StreamYard. We'll find out.
So maybe I will bring up the viz and
wait.
Oh, you
no,
got
we
it.
got
There
it.
you go. Yay!
Okay. Yay! Success. Yes. So, yeah, last Wednesday. So this is day 6 of. Yeah, we talked about it at length, but basically switching our pipelines to new sensors, new architecture, a lot more deception, a lot more everything. I don't know. Like it's a very long story, and we're going to have more information on this. But for now, we've just been letting the data speak for itself, and we've been using it internally for well over 6 months with great success. So, but now it's all finally in prod. So, one thing you might notice if you just straight up hit up the Today tab, you'll see we've seen 600,000, almost 600,000 IPs just today. And we're seeing a lot more malicious than we were before, a lot more benign than we were before. So in other words, our visibility has greatly increased. And when I say more, Bob, do you remember offhand, like maybe the percentage? Are we seeing double or maybe like 1.5?
It's around double now, yeah.
Okay.
And like obviously, to what we were saying earlier, like I love the comment about like you can't control the amount of phishing you get. I mean, you have a little control, but you don't have any control. We don't have any control, like massive control over how many IP addresses are being bad any given day. We can open up visibility, we can listen in more places, but we rely on bad people being bad and people that misconfigure their servers to misconfigure their servers or whatever. And so but in general, we see it at almost like a doubling of the numbers that we've been seeing previously, which is one reason why we did this.
Yeah, totally. So we've had we've got hundreds. I'd guess maybe almost 300 more rules in the new system than we did in the old. So we've greatly expanded on that front as well.
Oh, can we
then, like
start
I said,
calling them rules instead of tags? Because no one knows what a tag is. Can we do that? Can we maybe do that?
we can. That's
I might
I
just
have
start
no
doing that
objection to
and get yelled
that.
at.
That's a GreyNoise decision, I guess. But yeah, so like since we're seeing more IPs and more activity, then that means we're tagging more IPs and more activity. And there was one, I wasn't ready for this, Bob, but I know that there was a finding recently from a customer. I think Brad pointed it out, but basically they normally saw like 30K of what they were looking for each day for their data set. And then
Yeah,
the day
so
after we switched over, it was
things when they wired us up to their automation, there was the lookups they would find N, and now the N's are like tripled or whatever for that. It's been
yeah,
pretty
it was
insane.
literally triple the next
Yeah.
day. So that was absolutely awesome to
It
see.
just
So
very much better tells the story that there is a baseline behavior of the internet, and that,
Yeah.
Yep.
And
If you could go back to the yeah, wait, that just hit them. I told you we have a blog coming out about this too soon, I believe.
Yeah,
Go
today.
and scroll up for a minute if you could. Click on the today again, please. So the one thing I want to point out here, for the past week, Iran's been at the top of this list. Even if you filter it into malicious, like actually like tap to filter to just malicious only, if you could. Yeah, so then they've been in the top. So I did some digging over the weekend. There was it appears to be a whole bunch of Android devices on Iran's mobile network that were being used by whatever threat actor to do a whole bunch of things, and you could go take a look historically and hear what was actually happening. And I'm not sure we would have seen that in the previous architecture just for reasons. And now Brazil's back at the top of the list because Brazil's entire infrastructure is terrible. So like it just happens down there. So the visibility is great. The fact that we're adding more detection rules, partnering with VoneCheck on having detection rules as well
VoneCheck's
too.
been a
It's
part of
great.
that.
Yeah, this is great. Absolutely great.
And also, like, since we've had to hand touch every stinking rule, which is why we're all so tired, we've improved a lot as well. So the brute forcer rules are an example of what we've been able to tune and improve on. And yeah, very, very, very excited for the go forward.
Yeah, and Jen and Austin, I'm not using last names on purpose because I don't think we're going to get to it today because we're almost done. So we'll have to cover the OS int section maybe next week because we're already 58 minutes into this.
Oh, that's right. We had a whole other topic.
I am not using their. That's why we went into this immediately because we were I think it requires covering topic. We'll probably have to wait till January to cover it. So I'm also not using the last name, but Jen and Austin, who are two of like the most amazing designers and implementers, they have been let loose on things, and you're going to see there's already some improvements, and you're going to see much more in the coming days as well. So keep your eye on the viz because it's just going to get prettier and brighter.
Oh yeah.
We can go a couple minutes longer. I'm just curious, what is if and so, none of us are ready for this. So I'm gonna pick Kimber first. Top advice for for OPSEC. Top advice.
Top advice for OPSEC.
Not necessarily if you're a healthcare from an industry that's had challenges in perception in the media.
If you happen to be a CEO with some concerns about your operational security,
no, I think in general because like the CEOs can. Because like honestly, open season CEOs, it's fine, so it's good.
One of the things that I think about a lot, and this gives some real insight into my paranoia brain, is where do you put your actual home address versus where do you put your shell company PO box? And I gotta say, not many things know my actual home address. Not even my mother, who called me this weekend and asked me my home address because she wanted to send me something. And I started laughing because I didn't know what it was. And she asked me if I was high. So I was
Nice.
not. But yeah, I really don't give my home address out to anything. Everything gets the PMB.
I'm gonna go next because it ties into that, Glenn, and I'll hit you up last. Similar to that one, I have a VoIP number that I've had for a very, very long time, and it goes into the ether and like it gets recorded, and I can look at the messages or look at the release, but it does not fire on any phone. It just that's for anybody that I don't know. And I to the same thing, like when I have to give my real phone number to somebody, I have to look it up because I give it away so rarely that I have no idea what it is. So yeah, it's like, and I think that's good that I don't know what it is either because I can't give it up if I had to. So
I love
that would be mine. Like VoIP, keep it separate, and then only let your trusted folks have access to it.
I used
Glenn,
to
what's
do
yours?
that one.
It's hard to pick one, but I'll just say, like, don't forget about your. Everyone wants to log their outdoor exercise and their runs, but all that means GPS. So if you're like on Strava and you're sharing locations or something, like depending on your threat model, like you might be just literally a walking tracker.
Gotcha.
Also, data brokers.
Also, follow me on Strava. Encourage me to run more.
Then we can find your address.
She
always starts and ends here.
Crazy town.
That's a good
one. All right. So we did cover it barely, but I think we should do a deeper dive on it later, and then we'll have more of the folks on to cover that too, because I know that both Hemija and Emily do a very good job at trying to maintain operational security for themselves too. Oh wait, we have one for educators. OPSEC advice educators: never give your personal email address online. Always use
Yep,
that's
a big one.
I will throw one more in because we actually had this happen to us. We oh, by the way, we do have a lot of positions open. There's still go to our jobs section on our website. We have a lot of stuff open like all across the board. We did have someone try to get to have us divulge secrets of our infrastructure during an interview. And obviously we stopped that quickly.
There's been a few interesting approaches this round.
Are you getting
so if you not that I know of. But so if you are hiring as well next year or this year, it isn't all benign people just wanting to work for you. It's also people wanting to know your secrets. So be careful how much you give away, especially on, and then like don't put your tech on LinkedIn, please. Okay, we give too much advice away. All right, anything else to say to folks on this Festivus celebration?
No, if this was your first time tuning in, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Drink your eggnog.
Oh. All right. Well, that's all she wrote, Thrunters. Remember, like your MTTR metrics, we'll be back faster than you can say predictable executive movement patterns. Until then, keep your patches current, your whiskey cabinet stocked, because in cybersecurity, sometimes you need both. This is Stormwatch signing off until the gang's all back for our final episode of 2024. Take care, everybody, and catch you next Tuesday.
Bye.